Today we will be making clafoutis. Clafoutis is a nice, warm, easy to make dessert from France, from the Limousin region. It has three main ingredients: milk, eggs and of course cherries. Nice, ripe summer cherries. There's a number of ways of making clafoutis. There's no classic recipe to follow. The milk could be cold or warm. Some people use a combination of milk and cream, that's all fine. You could also add a bit of kirsch to your batter, but that's not the best idea because you want to taste the fresh cherries, not the kirsch, so that's not something we would do. You could also add vanilla to the clafoutis, but that is a really distracting taste, so let's stick to the cherries. A more important question is if you want to pit the cherries or not. Removing the pits of the cherries is of course much easier when serving it to your guests because they don't have to be careful not to chew on a cherry pit. However, the pits do add something to the clafoutis because the pits contain something called amygdalin, which is nothing else but almond taste. So when you remove the pits, you lack that almond taste in the clafoutis. And that's why we use a combination of normal flour and almond flour to compensate the lack of the pits in our clafoutis. Let's start cooking. You can use the clafoutis batter also with other summer fruit, for instance with prunes, berries, apricot or peaches. Then your dessert will be called a flognard. So clafoutis is with cherries. And that's what we're going to use, of course, really rich, warm, tasty cherries. So what other ingredients are there in a clafoutis? Well, there's also a bit of sugar, the almond flour we talked about, real plain flour, some eggs, milk, and finally butter to coat the baking dish, but also halfway the cooking process to top on the clafoutis to create a wonderful golden brown color to your dessert. The startup preparation is by whisking together 2 eggs. And actually the whole batter is very much like you are making pancakes. So you whisk the eggs and then you add, in this case, a bit of flour, the almond flour and the sugar. Then it's just a matter of mixing and then adding the warm milk. We prefer warm milk because you then have a better feel for the consistency. So that is the batter. Now for the cherries. Like we said, we pit the cherries, which is a very simple work if you have a small machine like this. We use some 30 cherries for the clafoutis. That's enough for a great taste, but if you use more cherries you will get more cherry juices, which could make your clafoutis a bit soggy, and that's not what you want. So now we need to combine the cherries. In the baking dish 1 layer is sufficient with the batter. The baking dish in our case is on 1/3 of the oven, the lower third. That may depend on your oven, of course, so you have to be a bit experimental in this case, but probably the lower third will work on 180 degrees Celsius. After 20 minutes we check for the clafoutis. The first thing we need to see is the consistency. So just feel how strong it is, and then add some butter on top. Like I said, that's very much for adding the color to the clafoutis, and it also helps to give it a much richer taste. So we move it back into the oven and give it another 20 minutes to bake. Clafoutis is of course hot when it comes out of the oven, but we will serve it warm. So after 20 minutes you open the door again and there you are, a warm, sizzling hot clafoutis. It looks great, but please let it rest for an hour or even longer to integrate the tastes, but also to get all the juices absorbed in your rich, buttery, warm clafoutis. This recipe and many more can be found on our website www.cookanddrinkwithus.org.